Good morning, ultimate hustlers and digital empire builders. It is that time for the Cortez Hustle Show. And today we've got a wonder-filled show lined up for you. Today I got my man, Dr. Knaub on, and he's going to be talking about the health of the entrepreneur, not just the health of your business. No, we're talking about your health, the health of you, the individual behind this wonderful business and or your brand. Super excited to have him on board. He's very accomplished as a doctor, as an entrepreneur, and now consulting other entrepreneurs. So buckle up and hold on tight. And do me a huge favor, comment in the chat where you're from, drop the name of your business and or your brand, and smash that share button, ladies and gentlemen, because it's about to go down. Let's kick it. Yo, what's up, ultimate hustlers, and welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show, the business podcast for the entrepreneur of the 21st century. And I'm your host, Cortez Hustle. Our goal is to give you a behind-the-scenes look at how the world's greatest hustlers build amazing brands, scale their businesses to incredible heights, sell more, make more, and create mass movements that impact the world. It doesn't matter if you're a seasoned vet or you're sitting on the sidelines with aspirations to one day unleash your inner hustle. This show will provide the insights into how pure grit, determination, and hard work has morphed into some of the most iconic brands and personalities and how they are moving the culture forward. You'll get a mix of solo shows featuring yours truly, as well as interviews and content from other hustlers that I either know personally or I've learned from or whose grind I've come to know and respect. And you'll also get exclusive recordings from our membership called Monetize My Life Academy, which you can check out at monetizemylifeacademy.com. That's a program where we go live every month with some of the best hustlers on the planet, sharing best practices on how we all can explode our brands with advanced branding and marketing tactics, business development strategies, and financial game planning necessary to build the empires we all desire. Again, that's at monetizemylifeacademy.com. If you like today's episode, chances are the hustlers you're connected to will like it as well. Share it with those in your network. And when you do, use hashtag Cortez Hustle so I can see you and hopefully give you a shout out and share you in my stories. So check out today's episode and make sure you subscribe to the feed on your favorite podcasting networks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show. I'm, of course, your host, Cortez Hustle, also known as the one and only financial health mentor, everybody's favorite fatherpreneur, coming to you live and direct from the Digital Empire System Studios right here in St. Louis, Missouri. Listen, if you are building a business of any kind and you don't have any automation in your business for your sales process, your lead nurturing, then you need to check out digitalempiresystem.com. Go check out the short demo. I think you'll be amazed at how you can add automation, especially if you're a coach, consultant, solopreneur, author, speaker, trainer. This is the premier platform for you to run your business like the big boys without the big boy budget. So check out digitalempiresystem.com. Today we're talking about the health of an entrepreneur. You guys know we dedicate Wednesdays to Wellness Wednesday because it's one thing to go after the bag as an entrepreneur, but it's another thing to get the bag and not have any health to enjoy the bag. So we've got Dr. Knaub on with us today. He's going to be talking all about how to stay healthy as an entrepreneur, but he's also an amazing business coach. He's going to be talking about the health of your business as well. So before we get into that, you guys know I got a couple announcements for you. My family over at Unheard TV are looking for sponsors. I've got a new show called the Black Biz Success Show launching on Roku in January. I'm super excited about that, and that's via Unheard TV. If you have a business-to-business solution, then that's a great place for you to advertise because that's what that entire show and network is all about. Also, we're looking for volunteer opportunities. If you have a nonprofit organization or know of a nonprofit organization or church that could use some digital marketing help, I'm donating digital marketing services, the talent of my team to help nonprofit organizations get their messages out. I know you guys got tons of great things going on for the holidays, and I want to make sure that people know how to connect with you and your brand to get some of those services and attend some of the events that you guys got going on for the holiday season. Also, for those of you who are coaches and consultants and course creators, the Ultimate Book Course Funnel Program is offering a very special sale going on through the month of November, where you actually get your first month free. You simply pay the setup fee, get your entire system built out for you, and we'll waive the actual first month fee of the actual system. So check that out. All you got to do is comment in the chat, and we'll make sure that you get connected with the right folks. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we can't delay any further, right? Wellness Wednesdays is all about helping entrepreneurs understand how to keep their mental wellness, how to keep their physical wellness, how to keep their emotional wellness, how to keep their social wellness as entrepreneurs intact while they are in hot pursuit of making their dreams come true. My next guest is the founder of a multi-million dollar organization called Breakthru Physical Therapy and Fitness. He is an amazing doctor and has an awesome team, but he also recently launched the Denali Consulting business, where he's teaching his sound business business principles to other entrepreneurs. So we get a double dip on this Wellness Wednesdays, because we get to talk about being healthy as an entrepreneur, but we also get one of the best and brightest minds to talk about business health as well with Dr. Lance Knaub. So, Dr. Lance, good morning. How are you, my friend?
Fantastic. Thanks so much for having me.
Hey, I am glad that you made time in your busy schedule to come hang out with us here on the Cortez Hustle Show. Before we get into your amazing accomplishments as a doctor, as a business coach and mentor, I like to start the show with what I call a quote of the day. So basically, I'm going to give one of my favorite quotes. If you have a favorite quote, you can share yours, or you can give your thoughts on this one. So today's quote comes from Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. Success comes to those who become success conscious. Failure comes to those who indifferently allow themselves to become failure conscious. That is from the great Napoleon Hill. And success is a consciousness, and you have to tune into the frequency of success in order to start attracting success to you. So, Dr. Lance, do you have a favorite quote? Do you want to chime in on that one, or do you want to do both? Chime in and share one of yours.
Yeah, I'll do a little bit both. I mean, I love Napoleon Hill. Think and Grow Rich is one of the most earth-shattering, mind-blowing. I mean, it's literally the most widely read business book of all time. So it is absolutely incredible. And, I do believe that, thinking something, just like the title says, will be the first step in making it come to reality. The quote that pops to my mind that I want to share is an Albert Einstein quote by one of my mentors and someone I emulate, who really emphasizes this quote a lot, and it's changed their life, John Lee Dumas, who you probably know from the podcast world, Entrepreneurs on Fire. And it's try not to be a person of success, but rather a person of value.
I love that. I love that. I was listening to a training just yesterday, and the young man on a system that I'm putting together said something very similar. He said, become a $1 million human being before you become a $1 million entrepreneur, right?
I love
and
that.
I think that's along the same lines. We kind of miss that we're still the humans that have to run these businesses. And when you become that person of value, then you can build a valuable business or company. So that, my friends, is the quote of the day right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, the Dr. Lance version, and brought to you by, of course, Dr. Lance. He's got some cool gifts for us that we'll talk about at the end of the show. So make sure you check the show notes and click the link in the description to connect there. So, Dr. Lance, I ask everybody who comes on the Cortez Hustle Show this one question: who the heck are you?
Yeah, I love a husband, a father, and an only child to two wonderful parents. I grew up in York, Pennsylvania. And are you Are you good? Did you lose me for a sec?
Yeah, go ahead. You're good now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm a husband to my wife, Jody. I'm a father to 3 incredible kids, Sage, Aspen, and Sierra. And I'm a son to my parents, John and Mimi. I grew up in York, Pennsylvania. And that's first and foremost, really my family. And I'm also a doctor of physical therapy. And I am extremely passionate about helping people stay healthy, and especially entrepreneurs stay healthy, as you've mentioned, while they're growing and scaling their businesses, so that they can actually avoid overwhelm and overstress and burnout and pay themselves first, actually pre-tax financially stay healthy, and so they can enjoy their mission and their purpose and their cause and all these wonderful things in life. And my story that I really want to share is in 2011, when we had 3 offices, about 30 employees, and we just had our 3rd child. I was working a lot, not sleeping enough, not taking good care of myself, and abusing my body, even as a doctor of physical therapist and a personal trainer. And my body revolted. My GI system stopped working and I couldn't eat, and I had to run to the bathroom nonstop. And it was embarrassing, and I had very little energy, and I still had to continue to lead our team and lead my family. And fortunately, I was able to pick myself up and slowly regain my health and develop my business skills. And that's my message. I want to pay all that forward, everything that I learned, to help other entrepreneurs and leaders and small business owners stay healthy while they're scaling and growing their businesses.
I love that. I love that. And we're going to dive more into that actual story, but I kind of want to go back to like when I heard you say you're only child and grew up. Have you always wanted to be a doctor? Was that like the goal from little kid, or did you kind of figure that out once you got into college and started to pick a career path? What was that like?
Yeah, I'm just going to crack my door so my dog Miley, my little Havanese, doesn't disturb everybody, and I'll tell you the answer.
All right, cool. Sounds good. So we're listening to and learning from Dr. Lance Knaub, founder of Breakthru Physical Therapy and Fitness, as well as the Denali Consulting, which is a business consulting group that can help you take your business and your brand to the next level. So always wanted to be a doctor, or was that something that transitioned? I see you got an athletic look, where you're an athlete first and then said, hey, you know what? I'm going down this path.
Yeah. So I knew that I loved to work with people and I wanted to be active, and I didn't think I wanted a desk job. I didn't really know about physical therapy. So I started off as a pharmacy student, and, unfortunately, high school, I didn't really develop good study skills, and things came a little bit too easy. I got accepted to every pharmacy school I applied to, and I thought college was going to be, walk in the park. And in pharmacy school, I don't even like chemistry. I don't know what I was thinking. So it didn't go well the first year. In college versus high school, when you have a full month of material and you don't like chemistry and you're not studying, it's not a good recipe and a good combination.
Yeah.
So I kind of, did the sciences, was sort of undeclared, and then, maybe whatever, bio, pre-med. And then fortunately, a friend of mine, Andrea Ehrenheim, said she was volunteering at Robert Wood Johnson Hospital in New Brunswick, New Jersey, in the physical therapy department. And I didn't know what that was. And I asked her, and I went and checked it out myself. I fell in love immediately. Day one, an outpatient physical therapy where you're really, in that setting, it was a combination of some pretty significant injuries of people in the hospital versus outpatient people coming in and leaving. And, physical therapists it's a wonderful healing profession where you're really able to change lives and make an impact quickly in many, many cases. And people, it's so gratifying and so satisfying. So, and my bachelor's degree I ended up getting my bachelor's in exercise science. So, I kind of had the unique combination of certified as a personal trainer and some fitness expertise, combining that with, my physical therapy training, which I really feel like, and it's Breakthru's differentiating factor, bringing fitness and physical therapy together in someone's best interest. Because there's a lot of physical therapy places and fitness places, and oftentimes they even try to sublet from each other and do all these different fancy scenarios. but really being together under one roof is very rare, and with the client focused approach and paradigm.
I love that, man, because I remember my mom is suffered a stroke, and I remember her having to go to physical therapy to kind of get back to herself. She still lost some mobility on her left side, but I thank God for the physical therapist that helped her regain as much as she did, because even though she's limited on one side, you can't keep her down. She still gets around and she's in the streets as much as a teenager sometimes. So like, lady, would you sit down somewhere? And I know that's kind of the work that you guys are doing. So you went through and got your degrees and you fell in love with that industry. Was it straight to a hospital to work, or was it straight to your own practice? I'm trying to get to where the entrepreneurial side came in from you as a clinical therapist.
Yeah. So is my connection okay? Am I a little slow?
I can hear you. It seems like your screen might be frozen, but I can hear you. So let's just proceed with what I
Okay.
hear.
I took
I can
off
hear you just
the
fine.
I took off the Ethernet, so we'll see if it cooperates. So yeah, I didn't have an entrepreneurial bone in my body, I didn't think. And when I
Mhm.
graduated, I just wanted to provide the best product. And I did brain injury for a year, kind of going back to Napoleon Hill. My
Mhm.
research in physical therapy was in brain injury, and my first full-time job was in brain injury. And then I started doing some part-time outpatient, which was primarily orthopedic, so muscle, bone, tendon problems. And I loved that. And I loved sports medicine. So I kind of brought that brain injury knowledge and experience into outpatient. And I
Mhm.
worked in outpatient for a couple of organizations for about 5 years. And, I guess years 3 to 5, I started to realize that I wanted to create a better product.
Mhm.
And I wanted to bring fitness together with physical therapy, which was just not an option. I wanted there to be more hands-on time, which is the biggest skill in our profession, actually,
Mhm.
laying of hands, what we call manual therapy, putting your hands on people and actually supervising the exercise. Exercise is such a powerful tool. And if
Mhm.
you're overscheduled, if you have 4 people per hour, you can't supervise the person enough to make sure their form is perfect. So
Yeah.
I wanted to build a better product, and I started to read and study and learn as much as I could about business. And frankly, one of the things I'm most passionate about is helping have a strategic plan and business planning, which will be my gift for the audience today. And when I dove in, I didn't have any plan, and I was fortunate to make it and survive. So in 2004, my wife Jody and I we rented 300 square feet from a boutique fitness center,
Mhm.
and we just went for it. And we got lucky to make it. We made some mistakes, but luckily there was no critical ones.
Yeah, and I want you to really like talk to that, because sometimes we have the dream and the aspiration and we will overthink it. And I'm a big fan of ready, fire, aim. And I like that you guys said, okay, we thought about it, we done some study, we read some books, heck man, let's just do it and figure it out as we go. And it worked out well for you because those lessons we get to learn in some of the materials that we could read from you about starting on a better foundation. But talk about the journey to start something, even if you don't have all the answers.
Yeah. So again, paying it all forward, what I recommend is doing some strategic thinking. You can't be on the mountain all day and never go down and fight in the trenches. However,
Mhm.
if you fight in the trenches and aren't doing some planning, you will fail. And to
Yeah.
your point about learning by doing, I agree with that 1,000%. Just yesterday, I was speaking to an entrepreneur, and I gave him my opinion that I believe that it's probably 1% sort of coursework that matters. Like, would you want somebody from the Naval Academy who's world's best and brightest, but they've never fought in battle, versus somebody that's, survived and thrived and done, 5 overseas tours? I think it's 99% like learning by doing, and, a small percentage of, some of the knowledge as far as getting there. So you really do have to just roll up your sleeves and get there. However, every day, every week, every month, every year, break away for a small amount of strategic work first.
Yeah.
So paying it forward, what I realized in 2018 is when I started doing some coaching and consulting, and it took me until 2020 to realize that 90+% of small businesses don't have a business plan. And I also realized that even what I was offering in 2018 and 2019, people don't have 40 and 80 and 120 hours to do a traditional business planning process. So I tried to boil it down to the most critical components. And, I know you're a financial guy. So Ray Dalio really helped me think about that in principles. He's like, you can do strategic work and it can be minimal and short. And by the way, put it in front of your face, like, so you can help hold yourself accountable. So I created a really fast and functional process that people can go through. And I think it's adequate because in 2018, when I started Denali, I had a 50-page business plan and it was too big and cumbersome. I'm a one-man show still. At that time I was, and even now I've got a half a person. And so I think most small companies, you have to do some planning, but it's got to be reasonable and realistic as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. You can literally find yourself lost in the minutiae if you're not careful and allow that to slow you down. So I like that you said there's a condensed methodology to looking at, okay, what are the top things that I need in terms of my plan, and how can I implement those in 25, 30-minute increments daily to kind of stay focused, stay on task without me having to step away for a whole day to try to figure some of the strategic stuff out. I love that approach. On the other side of 1 Minute Motivation, we're going to talk more about your journey through the health scare that you had and what led up to that, and what are some of the signs that entrepreneurs should be looking for, because I know looking back, you can see that, oh man, that was clear that if I was in tune, I should have recognized that sign that could have prevented some of that stuff. So we're going to talk about that. But now it's time, my favorite time of the show, where we do something called 1 Minute Motivation. That's where I'll play a short motivational clip, usually 60 to 90 seconds or so. And I just ask you to give a takeaway, and I'll give a takeaway, and the audience normally comments a couple takeaways as well. So we're going to get to the Dr. Lance version of 1 Minute Motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show. Let's get it.
Is that it's a relentless pursuit of greatness. If you just stay on course, it'll take you further than you can ever imagine. I think for me personally, what set me apart, I think, from everyone else is that my dedication and my discipline and just the execution of being consistent is what put me in a different stratosphere, just put me on a different level. And I think people are able to see that. Sometimes, like I said, I didn't want to just blend in. I wanted to stand out. When you start to become successful, you're not going to be 100% liked by everyone. There's so many layers and so many elements of being a professional athlete and being in that sport. You're going to be subjected to criticism. Whether you do good or bad, people are going to talk about you, good, bad, or what have you. But you have to be strong-willed, and I think that's who and how I was. And I think a lot of that, like I said, stemmed from the upbringing of my grandmother. But at the end of the day, I think an athlete, again, to get to where you want to be and the process in which it takes to get there, you have to be addicted to bettering yourself.
Hoo-wee. I don't know about you, Dr. Lance. It's my man T.O. Doing some motivational speaking with the music and all that stuff. But one of the reasons that I love this so much, Dr. Lance, is because we all just listened to the same clip, but we all heard something different. So what did you hear?
Wow. I mean, I started to get goosebumps at the end, especially that line about it getting addicted to bettering yourself. It kind of connects earlier to personal development. And really, when we talk about Napoleon Hill and Albert Einstein and the quotes, I believe that your personal development will be the limiting factor of your life and your professional success. So you have to continue to develop yourself personally. And, T.O. is a great example of, he used the word thick skin. I mean, as a leader, you have to be humbly confident, and you when you do make a final decision, you do have to be strong, and not everyone is going to be in agreement, and you have to be ready to withstand that and with conviction. Now, that does not mean that you can't make adjustments and fine tune things, especially if you absolutely made an incorrect decision. Like Elon Musk says, make quick decisions, and therefore you can actually correct things quickly. So be accountable. If it was a bad decision, a wrong decision, or needed adjustment, own it and change it. Otherwise, if it is, the best decision that you need to stand firm to, do that. You absolutely do that. You will lose all credibility and faith in your people if you do not stand strong and be fearless. I mean, I could go on and on. There's so much good stuff there. And, his, desire to put the work in and the reps in on the process to get to another stratosphere, he was willing to endure pain and sacrifice that it takes to be the best, be one of the best.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He said his dedication, discipline, and consistency is what he attributes. And some of the things, and I know his story a little bit, talks a lot about the way his grandmother raised him, right? And I think some people miss that. And I think in a society where where you turn, it's, you got to be humble, you got to be humble, you got to be humble. And I like your use of humbly confident, though. It's like, yeah, I'm humble, but I'm the best, not because I'm boastful, but because of my dedication, discipline, and consistency that I put in the work. So I'm going to beat my chest a little bit because I deserve to. I worked for it. I put in the work. Be willing to stand out was something that really spoke to me, because a lot of times we are taught and trained our entire lives to fit in, to just conform, to just accept the status quo. Don't ask any questions, just go with the flow. But you got to be willing to stand out. And as you pointed out, in that willingness to stand out, you do become a target for good or for bad. Either way, somebody's going to have something to say. In fact, if nobody's talking about you, it's probably because you're not doing anything at all. So I love that. So that is 1 minute motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, the Dr. Lance version. Super excited to have you and to continue this conversation. But you spoke earlier about abusing your body and running yourself ragged, running yourself thin, running a successful business, 3 offices, and just really doing your thing, but at a cost, right? When we look back on that, what were some of the signs that you probably should have picked up on that said, you're going too hard, you need to rest, you need to make some adjustments here and find better balance?
Yeah, definitely. There's usually early warning indicators, just like your car, and you have to pay attention to, or some type of piece of equipment. And our bodies are great for that. And you also just have to combine that with a good dose of the common sense and judgment. For me, there were times when in my book, I call it no life syndrome, right? I really didn't have any time for myself for rejuvenating. So you need to, have things every day that you're looking forward to for yourself. And I advocate for people when they're really doing some introspective thought. The one unique step that I add to my strategic business planning process, the 2-hour process that you won't find in any book, is, again, this personal mission. Know what's most important to you in your life, and then have people cross-check that with their priorities. Some people really advocate for an oxygen mask approach, where you have to take care of yourself first so you can help other people. And you can decide if that's what you'll take, or if you're going to, your partner, your kids, whoever, if you're spiritual, whatever is most important, but you just need to decide that in advance. So, I think that you need some time either for yourself or your most important things in life. And you need to set some clear boundaries so that you're not working all the time. And if you have these boundaries created in advance, you won't feel guilty, right? Because I'm just trying to think. I was speaking to someone this week. Yeah. Someone new that I'm supporting, and they are they have no boundaries, and they give their cell phone to every single person in the company. It's a 45 location company. It's an 8-figure company. And, I said, are you taking your cell phone to bed with you? Like, I mean, and he's like, I realize I need a little space. And I was like, okay, this is the first thing we're going to work on. So yeah, you need to know, I call it a success schedule, really map out your week, and then, communicate that to the world, including your family and whatever their priorities are. Like, this is some time for me to exercise, or this is our family time, so that you can have guilt-free, no remorse time. Okay, 8 o'clock at night, my cell phone's gone off. And, if you're a good leader anyway, you can delegate. It doesn't have to be you. If the building burns down, is on fire, they're going to get through to you. And you can have other great leaders who can take some of the responsibility. It doesn't all need to fall on you. So I had no boundaries. I had no life. I was really, focused on the business, which was my first child. And together, my wife, Jody, and I, our first child. So then when you add 3 children to the mix, all under the age of 4, and again, as a entrepreneur who didn't have any formal training and was learning on the fly, my personal development wasn't good enough, and my business skills and the fundamentals of the business weren't good enough. So it was the perfect recipe for failure and really shut down. So when you find yourself starting to, lose your appetite, not find joy in things, not have time for yourself, really just feel exhausted, right? So if you're not sleeping well, and your anxiety is high, like you're waking up before your alarm clock, those are some of the classic signs. And I'm really studying sleep. I'm, reading Matt Walker's book. He's a neuroscientist focused on sleep. And in layman's language, really the magic seems to happen between 6 and 8 hours. And, even now I am 7 hours at best. So I'm still trying to get up to closer to 8 hours. But certainly at that time, I was lucky if I was getting 5 quality hours of sleep a night.
Wow. Yeah. And I think the word balance trips a lot of people up. And I liken the analogy of football, because we know in football, in order to be successful, you must have a balanced attack, right? But balance for one team to the next doesn't mean 50-50. It means for one team, I'm going to throw it 80% of the time, and I'm going to run it 20% of the time to keep the defense honest. For some, I'm running it 80% of the time, and if you load up the box, then we're going to, fake the handoff and go over the top, right? Balance is different for everybody. So I love that you say you have to create those boundaries for yourself and know what that balance is. I remember I heard a story about Dave Chappelle, and he's going through a lot with his latest special. But early in his career, he was 14 years old when he started going into comedy clubs and doing his thing. And he said one thing his father told him about going through that, he said, set your price up front. And whenever it gets to a place that you are asked to pay something you're not willing to pay, then that's how you know. So you're saying the same thing. Set your price up front. How far are you willing to go with your boundaries and with this business before you're going to break into family destroy? Because nobody wants to win in business and lose their family, lose their health, and all of those sorts of things. So walk us through the recovery, getting back on track. How did you get to a place where you were like, okay, I got to start sleeping. I got to focus on my health.
Yeah, I'll move right into that. And just to add to what you said, I think that's a genius analogy with football. And I do think that you do need to customize it. And, John Lee Dumas, who I mentioned from Entrepreneurs on Fire, and Gary Vaynerchuk, I know he's a big advocate, Gary V, of really hustling and almost working around the clock. But apparently I haven't checked it out myself. He's actually maybe pivoted more recently in the last couple of months and maybe backing off that position a little bit. But part of the reason I really emulate John Lee Dumas.
Think he does. He goes hard, but then he also takes 7 weeks of vacation. So okay. I think that's his balance. Like, he will go 24/7, but he's got those 7 weeks where he shuts all the way down.
Right.
And I think that part is missed in a lot of his messaging.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, because I mean, I've read, I've read his books, and he doesn't really touch on that. He's like really emphasizing the grind.
Yeah.
And, but I do think you have to be realistic, almost like the seasons of your business. When it is an infant, you do have to be prepared to, work a little bit more, right? And maybe make a little bit more sacrifices. But where I think entrepreneurs run into trouble is they're not doing the preparatory strategic work and sort of have a pro forma laid out. And so when they hit some of these milestones, knowing which hat they can replace and what makes sense. And then really, knowing you're enough, like once you do hit certain levels of success, there's profit is not a bad word. It has to be a good word. I'm a really big advocate for Michael Michalowicz's profit first approach. And when businesses say they're running 20 or 30% profitable, that's pre-tax profit. So if you're not careful, you're going to be running cash flow negative. So you can't survive on like 5% growth, right? Inflation and your costs are going to outpace that. And if you're just not really, focused on being profitable, you're not going to be healthy enough as a business to serve other people. And you won't be able to keep yourself healthy because you won't be able to add all the rock stars that you're attracting to your team.
Right.
Anyway, so just a few additional points to build on what you said about really customizing, how much you work when, and hopefully that changes so you can achieve your vision and accomplish your mission and keep your priorities, your family, whatever it is first. And as far as how I broke out of it, when the body breaks down like that, it forces you to shut down. So, however, we didn't have other physical therapists that could completely cover my caseload. And I can remember sitting, I went out to a diner I'm here in New Jersey. Diners are popular. And I was with a physician and I had to eat the brat diet. So rice and toast and applesauce. And I was eating that at a diner, just trying to pretend that nothing was wrong and not disclosing that. Here I am in a health business, health professional with a physician. And so I did have to change my eating. It forced me to sleep a little bit more and some things got pushed off. And you know what? The business survives. Our great people stepped up and they rose up to the challenge. And, I did slowly every single day. And this is the process that I laid out in my book called The 4% Breakthrough. There's the first section is personal development. The second section is business best practice and fundamentals. And the last is actionable health. So I worked on myself and I really did I tried to live up to my vision. And then secondly, I worked on the business fundamentals, which weren't good enough. I didn't have the, kind of our infrastructure / org board in good enough, order, our position description. So everyone knew every day exactly what they were doing, our processes. We finished writing out our processes so that, if I could go away on vacation, short term, middle term, like everybody knew what everyone was supposed to be doing. And we started, continued to evolve our business planning. And then on the health front, I worked on my mental health, nutrition, sleep, exercise, and posture and ergonomics. So those are the things I did. And that's really the process that worked for me. I laid that out. It took me about 20 weeks for about 18 months. 20 hours a week on average for about 18 months to organize it all into a process and pay that forward. So that's a little bit of the process and highlights from my book, The 4% Breakthrough, that kind of lays out not only to get yourself healthy, but hopefully you can learn from my mistake and just be preventative and proactive and actually stay healthy.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm in that space now, developing processes, even around my podcast and some of the other things that I'm doing. Because I had a mentor tell me, bro, the work that you're doing, if something happened to you today, no one can pick up what you were doing because it's only written in your head. So nobody can do that and keep this thing going on your behalf. So I think that's huge. Let's talk about that from a stress management standpoint, because as a solopreneur and someone who I built some residual income and a network marketing opportunity. So that gave me a cushion to where I didn't focus on putting some of the systems in place. So I wasn't stressed right? But now as I start to grow and I started to recalibrate my vision, I noticed where the stress could come from if I don't put these processes in place. Talk about that from a stress reduction standpoint, some of the strategies you can deploy in business that can keep you mentally focused and intact.
Sure, sure. So I think we already started touching on some. By having this weekly framework, you will have guilt-free. I love the day when I could go to bed at night and turn my phone off. There were other people in charge and I'd have to keep it on. So knowing my boundaries was really key. And along the way with processes, what I recommend is spending the extra 10 or 15% to write the process. Just this morning, I was talking to some financial planners, Matt and Scott, who are really doing well in their, second year business. And Matt shared that he was going to have to respond to one of his financial advisors and help clean up 3 emails before they went out to clients. And I suggested to create one template, one process, and then, coach his advisors in using the template, and also clarify the expectation that he's just going to bless it. He's going to give it a final review as long as it's in this form. Rather than spend 5 minutes on each email, now he's taken less than 5 minutes and created one template, and now it's done. Otherwise, he was going to, for the 365 days, he was going to continue to do that. So you can see how we just had a 95% time and efficiency savings and a stress savings. Now he doesn't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Right. So, I think you need to prioritize your processes. So what I would challenge you to do is go ahead and take your top 10 processes. Okay, let's just list them out. And then let's go ahead and create a bulleted list, just an outline as the first step, because an outline is a process. And then you can go ahead and fill in writing and detail later. Or frankly, some people on your team, when they do these processes, you could say, well, here's the first cut of releasing the podcast episode. Is there anything missing? Or really, if you already have people doing the job, you can actually ask them, hey, can you take the first cut of what is it, all the steps you do to release the podcast for me? And I'll say, that's beautiful outline. Now go ahead and write it in words, or you can even use more technology and make a video, and then it'll transcribe it so that you've got a library and all your processes are organized and documented. And there is an entrepreneur, his company's called Trainual, and his book just came out in the last 7 days. I'm on the waiting list. It didn't come to my house yet, but I'm excited to read it and share it with more entrepreneurs, because I think it's going to be a tool to, very few companies have all their processes documented in place. Don't feel alone, because I studied franchising for Breakthru 10 years ago. And we really got pretty deep. We had a franchise consultant come on site, and he was saying, by the way, if you don't have all your processes documented, we'll do that for you for $60,000. And he was sort of just to show you the value. But there's people franchising their businesses that don't even have their processes documented, but it's high value and it's necessary. So I don't know, do those examples make some sense?
Absolutely. I had Michelle Seiler Tucker on in the spring, and she talked a lot about that. And she gave an example of a dentist looking to sell their business, because that's what she's queen of business acquisition. She cleans businesses up for sale. And she's like, yeah, we can sell your business, but you're not going to get top dollar. Why? Because the business is you, first of all, and then your 3 assistants are all your daughters. So unless y'all going to stay with the business after you sell it, we're not giving you top dollar. So she walked them through what you're talking about. You got to create these processes where you can take yourself out and plug in anybody who's competent and skilled, and they can do those processes. And that's how you free yourself up in business. I love that. So we talked about your health journey and getting squared away there. When I guess it made sense that when you built your business and the fitness practice, and you got it where it wanted to be, how long from that successful model did it take for you to say, you know what, I can now take this and help other businesses across other verticals get to where I am in a shorter time because they can use my blueprint? How long did it take you running successfully before you decided to establish Denali Consulting?
Yeah, so it took 13 and a half years to create a business where we took on our best people as partners. We created a win-win-win and offered our best people partnership equity opportunities, and development plans are a secret sauce, a real pearl that I recommend for entrepreneurs and leaders to really, it's pretty simple. Just keep a pulse on all your people, and especially your best people, and ask them what they love, and where that aligns with the business needs. You create a plan, right? That's the theme of today, strategic planning. Create a plan, and you try it. It's not a promise, but then you try to, achieve the goals. And in 2018, one of our partners who, in doing his development work, said they wanted to be the CEO and run the company. And at first I was like, oh boy, what about me? But then I realized, oh, that could be an opportunity. That's great. So we spent, 3 or 4 years continuing to develop all of our team, and especially this person. And in 2018, they took over the CEO role of our first child, our baby. And at first it was scary, but then that allowed me to spread my wings. And I consulted a franchise broker. I thought maybe I wanted to, I didn't want to be an operator. I realized I was a little too entrepreneurial for that. And then I have a podcast movement, Chandler Bolton Self-Publishing School. I realized I wanted to do coaching consulting, and they helped me connect the dots on, sharing it all in a book. And then I started some masterminds. So 13 and a half years. And really, I think it took Ray Dalio 42 years, and he had to hand it off to 2 CEOs. So it's not easy, but if you have your vision, you will work there and you'll be able to do that.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Well, Dr. Lance, we are at a part of the show that I absolutely love as well, called freestyle, because I know you got bars, Doc. I can see the hip hop all in you, Doc. Well, no, I'm not going to turn on the beat and make you rhyme words, but freestyle is just a part of the show where, as I'm building this media empire that will one day surpass Ted Turner and Walt Disney, I don't always ask the right questions, right? And the conversation doesn't always evolve to where we want it to go. So this is an opportunity for you to take a couple minutes and either reiterate something that we covered that you think is really important, or if we haven't gotten to something that needs to be said, then we can speak on that too. So this is freestyle right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, the Dr. Lance version. Hit them with your best bars, my friend.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I guess really re-emphasizing that it is possible to create a healthy business while you protect your health and while you have a healthy lifestyle. And one thing that we really didn't get into deep enough is, paying yourself first and staying, consistent with this, what I recommend, this profit first approach. So imagine your business was generating $100,000 a year, and you knew you wanted to $100,000 a month, and you wanted to be 20% pre-tax profitable. So you knew in advance that you needed $20,000. So if your expenses were at $90,000 last month, you're going to have to figure out how you can either cut costs or increase revenue. It's a little bit more, with a little more confidence that you can decrease costs. Like adding revenue always has some level of, assumptions and, uncertainty and doubt. So you need to have a plan to stay profitable along the way, so that you can, if you've done this great strategic thinking and you know that you want to be the CEO for X time, and you want to hand off that hat, and you want to focus on marketing, or you want to focus on being a physical therapist, or you want to be the artist delivering the podcast and interviewing people, know in advance, do the introspective work, decide what hats you want to wear. And then, because you're profitable, strategically replace those hats over time and achieve your vision. And you may end up having somebody run your business like I did with Breakthru Physical Therapy and Fitness. And it's a win-win-win. It's incredible. And you can pursue other opportunities. And of course, you'll still continue to support your team. So that in a nutshell, be strategic, do your planning, and then when you execute on it, it's an iterative process. So be sure you're measuring minimally with a business plan. You have to make it come to life minimally, you have to look at it monthly and see whatever your key indicators are. certainly revenue and expenses and profit and whatever else it is, unique visitors or podcast guests, affiliate marketing, whatever your key dashboard and indicators are, use that. And then you have to, just like you so often hear, it's so true. However, it's very rarely done. Measure what's working and what's not working. And you have to take it all the way to profit. You have to put in a dollar amount for your time on an hourly basis so that you can compare doing my podcast show, doing Facebook ads. You can compare every one of your actions, apples to apples, if you actually drill all the way down to profit level. And, less than 1% of businesses do that, but that's a real, game changer. If you'll go ahead and put like TO, if you're consistent and you have the discipline, you will be in the 4% of businesses that survive more than 10 years.
Love it, love it, love it. That is freestyle right here on the Cortez Hustle Show. Dr. Lance version. Drop the mic, my friend. That was explosive. Real quick, talk to them about the free resource that you have. Click the link in the description and the show notes. If you want to get this free, cool resource, talk about what that is and why you felt so compelled to put this out as a free resource, because I've seen the value. It's something that most people would charge big bucks for, but you're giving it away for free.
Yeah, as I mentioned, it's no coincidence. It's not accidental that 90% of small business owners don't have a business plan, and 96% of small business owners fail in 10 years. So having a business plan is absolutely essential and critical. And I mentioned that I created this fast and functional version called the Jolt, and I actually created a self-directed, tool that you can use to go through the same process. And it's called the Jolt Business Planner Tool. And I will share that with anyone at denaliconsultingteam.com/strategy. And by the way, an additional gift, if you actually put in the reps and take a cut at it and share that with me, I will extend a 20-minute complimentary call to fill in the gaps and actually help you with any sticking points, any challenges you're having in creating your strategic marketing business plan. And I call it a marketing business plan because, a marketing plan often is your actions and a business plan is the financials. And the magic is when you bring the two together, when you actually have the actions and the financials together so that you can, just have a complete living, breathing business plan.
Love it, love it, love it. It doesn't get any better than that, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you win. Nobody wins by accident. They win because they strategically planned to win. They prepared and created strategies and contingency plans and all of those different things that you need to be successful. Tell everybody how they can reach you, Dr. Lance.
Yeah, so I'm my website, denaliconsultingteam.com, on all the socials, Dr. Lance Knaub, Knaub as in boy. And DM me, reach out to me. Love to hear from you. Love to help entrepreneurs. I would be happy to do complimentary calls with people if you organize your challenges, particularly if you've, put in the reps on, some of the introspective work and a little planning at a time, but happy to help in any way, especially help entrepreneurs who might have, 6-figure companies that really want to get to 7 figures, and especially who are struggling to make payroll, struggling to attend their children's birthday parties and family special events, and have no life syndrome like I had, and really want to stay, get healthy and or stay healthy personally, and have the business 20 to 30% or greater pre-tax profitability. So your business is healthy too.
Love it, love it, love it. Well, we've been listening to and learning from Dr. Lance Knaub. I'm super excited about this conversation, and you delivered the value that I knew you would. Ladies and gentlemen, it is possible for you to have a healthy business, be healthy as an entrepreneur, and live a healthy lifestyle. So with that, until we talk to you guys next time, I want you to get your money up, because you absolutely can do it. But more importantly, you deserve to do it, each and every single one of you. Now hustle up. Thank you. But you gotta overcome fear if you're gonna win.
You're tuned into the Cortez Hustle Show. Please like and subscribe.